Hey guys, I'm Orlando Eastwood here, doing another one of these video podcast things. I only do it for a few minutes at a time. Trying to get this whole podcasting thing back on track, but we'll see where this goes. So back last Wednesday, went out to the old Cinema 10 and then did a video podcast message thing on it. So today, well, yesterday, because it is now Friday, went out to go see what was left of the old Cinema 3 at the Richland Mall and the Cinema 4 that's out on Park Avenue where Kingsgate Mall used to be at. Let's go into the Cinema 123 first at the Richland Mall. There's nothing really to see. Basically, with how Richland Mall uses it, it's basically for storage, and they do use it for Christmas lights every November, December, and then, they shut them off in January. So that's kind of a thing to see every, few weeks of the year. That's only a sixth of the year where it actually gets some use. On the inside, you can't see anything. They painted it up and boarded the main entrances and exits, and only one entrance is used where they have it chained and padlocked. There is a shed that is in front of it on the side, the left-hand side when you face it. But other than that, I don't know when it happened. It must have been some point in time before I came back in 2009, where the giant metal railing and marquee that used to have all the movies and stuff listed with, the Cinema 123 advertised was yanked down out of the ground. So that used to be there, but that's gone. And really, if you do ever go to the Richland Mall, if you're ever here in Ohio by any chance, it is the saddest fucking excuse of them all. Oh my god, it used to be so booming in this town, and now there's nothing. But, Richland Mall aside, let's talk about the movie theaters. So I wonder, because the Richland Mall owns the Cinema 123 property, I wonder what Cinemark could have possibly left in there that they possibly threw away. But the Cinema 4 is quite interesting. The Cinema 4 used to be right beside a JCPenney's, which is closed down, and it's been empty for I don't know how many years. At least since 2009 when I came back, it's been empty, and it has been empty ever since. There was some Christmas decorations that was being stored in there that you could walk by and see them. There was some giant wooden cutout of like a Santa Claus and some reindeer or whatnot. I don't know what they were for, whose they were. Well, obviously they were the property owners, but I don't know whatever happened to them. They haven't been in there for at least maybe 2-3 years now at this point. But the Cinema 4 was located on this whole shopping complex that was a mall at one point in time. Used to have all kinds of restaurants. It had an arcade in it. It was known as the Kingsgate Mall. This mall no longer stands. A Kroger and Volunteers of America and Hobby Lobby took over all of the giant chunks of it and what used to be in it. Kroger took out most of it, and what you see now, they've renovated it. It looks nicer renovated, but the side where the Cinema 4 is and the JCPenney's is in very, very sad state. Even Volunteers looks a little bit run down, but I mean, at least with Volunteers, they do have it looking nice, and it, even though it's really. But all that aside, so when we got out, because we went to the Cinema 4 first, and then we went to the Cinema 3 after. But right now we're going to talk about the Cinema 4. As soon as I got out, there was a bunch of seagulls flying around because for whatever reason, and God knows why in Mansfield, Ohio, there are seagulls that fly around here constantly. The lake is pretty far away, yet they're here. That's just one of the oddest things. So as I got out, first thing I did, I took a picture from, J.C. Penney's, where you see a bunch of seagulls. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, weird. So, walked over to the, first thing I looked at was the, what Cinemark had left for the poster displays on the outside. Those are still there. Those are actually in the wall where there is some keys to, open and close it. I don't know if the property owners who have it, if they possibly have those keys or not. But it's kind of cool to see, but it's kind of sad at the same time because I did used to go to this movie theater a lot back when I lived here and before I had left for Germany. One thing that I did take pictures of, because we stopped by there a few times before and looked at it, and it was raining one time and we were trying to figure out the source of where this rainfall was coming from on top of our heads. Took a snapshot of one of the boards where they boarded it up, obviously from a hole or something, I don't know. Time decaying, I don't know. But, that was one thing. But then, now this is where Cinemark, the dirty bastards that they are, pardon my French, just left whatever they could there. Like I posted with the Cinema 10, even though I rambled a bit, and was kind of, sad about it because it was just like the day after I'd been there and just, all those thoughts and feelings and memories and whatnot. So, we see signs for Coca-Cola concession, ask about our combos is what one of the signs reads. It's still hanging up there. That sign's been there for 11 years. And then I'm guessing Golden Weaver, I think that's the generic Walmart brand, or that generic popcorn that you see at Walmart. I'm guessing that's what that is. It's kind of interesting to see, but also another interesting thing to see that Cinemark left up there at Theater 1, which is the main theater hall that you would go into, right up on the wall right there before you enter in the double doors, there's those $1 little charity, donate to like the St. Jude's or whatever, where you write your name on the little balloon and they tape it up because you donated $1. There's tons of those taped up on the wall. It's like, really? Really? The concession stand area is still there. That's still standing, which, I would have thought they would have yanked that out, but I guess there's not that much room to get that kind of thing out the door. So, but, within the 11 years, the walls have molded, as you can see. And I've told everybody who I've talked to about this, it looks like something out of Silent Hill. Me being a big Silent Hill lover, as much as it hurts my heart to see the theater go to this, it's kind of cool and imaginative at the same time. It gives me a lot of ideas. Because I've thought about possibly contacting the owners on multiple occasions to try to shoot scenes for a horror movie in there. I don't know, maybe we can figure out one of these days, maybe for the Night of the Living Dead movie that we've talked about making with another filmmaker, here and there for the past 2-3 years. But seeing it the way it is, like I said in the last video, or I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video or not, me and my fiance would talk. I've told her that I've had plans for, taking one of these movie theaters and bringing it back. And I don't know if it was her or if it was just something I had written about, that I don't know which one looks worse, the Cinema 10 or the Cinema 4. The thing about the Cinema 10 is that it's just one building and it's, shut off completely. The Cinema 4 is connected to various other parts of the building. So, obviously electricity is still running in there because the exit sign in the back is lit up. Now, I don't think per se that, if electricity wasn't running, then you wouldn't be seeing that lit up at all. So obviously the property owners are still paying for it. Obviously not paying that much. I don't think there's any running water. There could be. But, and heat, I'm not sure either about that, because I have thought about it. Obviously, as you can see, it's very molded. If anybody was to go in there, the walls, the ceiling, even the ground would all need replaced. But other than that, I mean, it is really an amazing look to see what has happened to a building if you leave it alone for, over a decade. I can remember going there, and I even mentioned this on my Facebook page. I tagged Michael Schlesinger, who was the American producer for Godzilla 2000, that, I had the experience of seeing Godzilla 2000 there on the big screen right before I turned 11. This was at the beginning of September of 2000. They had that one playing on their main screen, and it had to have been about 2 weeks at that point, because it was the beginning of September and the movie came out. Right around now, at this time of period in August, I believe the 18th was the release date. So, saw that there, and there was probably like 5 or 6 other people in it, and it was pretty empty. And I mean, I remember seeing Godzilla there, so I have a real attachment. And I mean, I love with a passion Godzilla, and even you can see in the photos that I took, because I did a few of those little straight outta memes photos that there was going on for the Straight Outta Compton movie. I was wearing my Godzilla shirt for the one that came out last year. So, my love for Godzilla gives me a real attraction to that theater, and this is one of my other crazy childhood memories. I remember back in 2000 as well, because this was when it came out. Pokemon 2000. I stood in line opening day. 3 hours. Stood in line 3 hours for that movie. I was the first person in line. And before the movie opened, 3 hours later, the line had went all the way to the end of the building on the outside. So that whole line went past those movie posters that are framed up on the wall out there, and it went all the way to the end, and I was the first person. So yeah, I can remember a few times going to that theater and really loving it, really cherishing it. Cinemark didn't really take the big ones there. Usually the bigger movies would go to the Cinema 10 when the Cinema 10 was the main theater. But usually the lesser movies would go to that one. I do remember that X-Men went to that one. I think X-Men 2 did go to that one too, but by the time the third one came out in 2006, they had already been closed down for 2 years at that point. But, I would love to see one of these movies reopened. And I've looked at the possibilities, especially if I get really successful making movies, which I would love for everybody to support me, so that we can make things happen, make history happen here. Would absolutely love to get one of these movie theaters back open in Mansfield, so that people can enjoy filming it. I've also talked about about a possible documentary about, why Mansfield loves movies, how we have, and this is a very big oddity, we have not one, but 2 drive-in theaters in this city. Now that is something right there. Drive-ins are dying out, but hey, Mansfield says, nah, we got 2 of them here. We had one that we thought was going to close last year because they couldn't afford to do the whole 35 to digital transformations and whatnot. But hey, they managed to keep it going in 2015. and they're still using 35mm film. It's amazing to see that, we all love movies, and the one theater chain in our town has the monopoly for 6 months out of the year. Half a year, they get your money if you want to see a movie here. Because it's either you see it or you don't. So I would love to possibly get rich off making my movies and doing something like this. Bringing back enjoyment, bringing back life, bringing back everything in this town. Especially these past few months where me and my fiance have been going to the Gateway to watch movies. Seeing how the Gateway is like right across the street from OSU, one of the OSU centers. Seeing how like it draws the attention of college kids and how like they bring in like these older movies like to play, like Homeward Bound. We went and watched when Marnie was there, which got a limited release. We were gonna go catch Jurassic Park, but we decided to skip that because it was gonna cost us too much money at the time, and then our son was born, so we didn't get to go see Jurassic Park because the missus hadn't ever seen it on the big screen. Although, speaking of Jurassic Park, I can remember seeing Jurassic Park at the Richland Mall at the Cinema 123 when I was 4 years old. I can remember that. It's just really something to see these 3 graves. Because that's what it is. It's a grave where people used to be there. You can imagine, if you've been there, you can remember saying, oh, hey, I went to that screen over there and saw that movie. It's a sad, sad state of affairs that Mansfield has turned this way. And I really hope that one of these days we can really turn this place around. So, while I keep dreaming and hoping that this is going to happen, and I honestly believe that it will, while I'm still working on American Nightmare, because we are going to try to get it finished for October, but by the looks of it, we might just be going digital in October and trying to get the physical copies out by Christmas. That's a possibility, but nothing is set yet for getting everything ready. I am Orlando Eastwood. I am going to sign off. Y'all have a great day, and see you later.